Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating and What Are We Cooking? That's right, today's gonna be a little bit of what are we eating and what are we cooking? When I did this Spam versus Treat video a little over a year ago, I wasn't really a big fan of Spam. But man, how things have changed since that video. Not only have I become a big fan of Spam, I can't get enough of the world's most popular canned meat. Spam has literally helped win world wars, fed people through the Great Depression even before it was called Spam, and given me a plethora of ideas on how to use this versatile processed canned meat in many ways. Like when I made the ever popular Hawaiian favorite, Spam Musubi. Spam Musubi is so simple to make, yet so delicious and filling. If I lived in Hawaii where this is sold just about everywhere, I'd weigh 300 pounds because I'd eat it every day. Next, I made the meat lovers version of the bloomin' onion, the Spamien. Crispy, sweet, and spicy, smoked pull-apart Spam fingers. Need I say more? Then I discovered Alvin Kailan's Ultimate Egg Slut Sandwich, which is the namesake of his restaurant's Egg Slut. This is one of the simplest, yet perfect sandwiches you will ever eat. Then I rolled the dice and gambled and tried generic Spam, which was obviously cheaper, but actually as good as the real deal. But then I had the misfortune of trying Spam Spread and Spam Scramble, which should never be allowed to represent this meat icon. But things got a little bit better when I tried the chorizo flavored Spam. At this point, Spam was like meth to me, and I was a meth head, and I couldn't get enough. So I did what any self-respecting meth head would do after licking my lips a lot. I went in all the way and made my own meth, so I would always have a fix. That's right, I made a shit ton of homemade Spam and damn near overdosed on it. I can already see the comments now of people getting offended and saying I'm making fun of addicts and overdosing and they can't help it. I'm not making fun of anyone. Well, maybe the licking the lips part, that's funny as shit. But it's an analogy, people. Stop being so sensitive. Then I remembered back in the day when I was studying horticulture at the University of Colorado that I'd eat anything when I got the munchies. So I bought this can of Spam flavored macadamia nuts. I mean, what could be better than Spam nuts at 4:20 in the afternoon after a long day of studying at the University of Colorado? But after I tasted a couple of these, I got pissed off to the highest level of pistivity. I spent $11.28 on a can of Spam macadamia nuts that taste absolutely nothing at all like Spam. Well, that's the what are we eating part of this video, and it's the quickest one ever. That sounds like something my wife would say. So now, let's get to the what are we cooking part of this video. I didn't want to totally waste the $11.28, so I pushed real hard and had a brain fart and came up with the idea of making Spam cookies. Yes, Spam cookies. Before you gag, stick with me here. Damn, I hadn't said that in a while. Obviously, you need Spam for the Spam cookies, but I didn't need the whole can, so I fried up a few pieces for breakfast later in the week. Then I cubed up 4 slices and threw them into a skillet over medium-high heat to fry and render until nice and crispy. The rendering process took a total of about 10 minutes. Once the fat had rendered, the Spam was to the perfect level of crispification. Then I added brown sugar to candy the Spam. Then I cooked the Spam and the brown sugar for about 5 minutes. You didn't think I was just going to put plain Spam in the cookies, did you? After 5 minutes, the candied Spam is done. And when you remove it, place it on a plate, but make sure it's all separate because it's going to harden. And you don't want it all sticking together. It's kind of like Spam brittle. So far in this video, I've mentioned meth and wacky tobacco. Now, I'm going to mention crack. Candied Spam is crack, because once you start, you can't stop. I should have just stopped right here and ate it all instead of doing this video. It's so good, and I highly recommend you try some. Let's see if I can come up with a heroin analogy before the video's over. Now let's put everything together to make the Spam cookies. In a large bowl, add a bag of Betty Crocker sugar cookie mix. I'm sure you can use any brand you like, or your homemade sugar cookie recipe. Then a whole stick of room temperature butter, a couple tablespoons of water, and white chocolate chips. And I used about a half a bag of chocolate chips. You might need to add more, depending on what grade stuff you're studying. And I don't know why, but I gave it a mix at this point. Now I chopped up the macadamia nuts, so now I'm going to add them. Along with the crack. And I almost forgot the egg. Then give it all a good mix until it's well blended. And I did have to add just a little bit more water. Now place spoonfuls of the Spam dough on a baking sheet. I'm using a silicone mat. You don't have to, but that's what I'm doing because it's easy to clean up and I'm lazy. Then bake these according to the directions on the package. And then when they're done, they look like chocolate chip cookies. Go figure. But don't let that fool you. Hash brownies look like regular brownies too. I couldn't think of a heroin analogy, so I used hash instead. I better shut up. DEA is going to be at my door soon. Once they cooled sufficiently, it was time to try one. And I didn't feel it was appropriate to have Spam cookies with a glass of milk. So I had a glass of Crown Royal instead. I did one thing very wrong. I didn't add enough Spam. For that size bag of mix, I should have added the whole can. But there was still enough Spam in the cookies to give you the taste and the texture. And the cookies, believe it or not, were delicious. They were obviously nice and moist, as you could see. And the chocolate and the Spam, everything went well together. It sounds like a really funky cookie, but it's a really delicious cookie. I personally loved them. My wife and daughter loved them. And I think you guys ought to give them a try, if you like Spam. Or maybe even if you don't like Spam. So I guess Spam is the duct tape of food. You can fix anything with duct tape, and you can make anything with Spam. If you'd like to help support the Wolf Pit, consider being a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month. That's $12 for the whole year. And every little bit helps. It helps me produce more high-quality videos more often for you, the people. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you do give the cookies a try, and don't give the nuts a try. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.